Good evening.
Good evening.
As I was just saying, I don't feel very well today because I'm not very well, and my magnificent school is being offsteaded today and tomorrow, and therefore that's quite a lot of pressure, and therefore I'm feeling rather ground down and in need of cheering up. And as a result, we watched the Shakespeare Code today, which I haven't seen in ages, actually. So, first and foremost, I really enjoyed watching the Shakespeare Code. All Doctor Who is good Doctor Who, and I think overall the Shakespeare Code is good Doctor Who. It's our celebrity historical, it's the big celebrity historical. There's only a handful of other celebrities that you would want to meet in Doctor Who world. We've been waiting for the Shakespeare meet-up for a long time, and then it dropped. And I have to say, I've forgotten his name already. I've looked him up. What a marvellous Shakespeare we're presented with. A brilliant face-off with him and Tennant. There's some real energy about that combination. I think the plot is appropriate, and Winnie took great delight in noticing there were 3 witches. But if I'm honest, I think it's somewhat perfunctory. I don't think it needs to be anything groundbreaking. But yeah, it is a sequence. It's a hook, isn't it, to hang Shakespeare and look at what a marvellous Doctor we've got. And Tennant is a marvellous Doctor. There are moments in this where I sort of had to sit back and go, in terms of, in comparison to old Who, you know, new Doctors don't get very long to establish themselves. I know the episodes are longer, but it doesn't feel like they whiz by. And so when you finally settle in and go, bloody hell, you're a bloody good Doctor, it's a really nice feeling. And so there's an awful lot about this story that's just great fun. All the Shakespeare references, all the nods to that. The Dylan Thomas reference gets me as well. All that's great, but it leads me... saying that leads me down a little path that I just want to touch upon, and it's this. And I don't know whether this is my own particular oversensitivities coming to bear. But one of the things that strikes me about this episode is I think it's a bit smug. What do you think?
A bit knowing, yeah.
It's a little... It's just...
Didn't feel like there was any real peril.
Just nudging towards the fact that it's a bit clever.
I didn't think it was that good, but...
Did you not think it was that good?
I didn't, I'm afraid.
Why?
I said it to you when we were watching it, but I feel like the main conceit that there's these people who can get some sort of power or whatever it is they're trying to get, see, I disengaged, just by getting somebody to read out words in a certain order. Like, they could have got a market seller to do that. Oh no, they've got to be in a building with 14s. It was wank, wasn't it?
Well, you see, I'm all right with that side of thing because I'm a pretentious so-and-so. My stock in trade is words, isn't it? But I can totally see where you're coming from. And it is a bit neat, but not in a Moffat way. It's a sort of, oh, we're going to do a Shakespeare. How can we make it? And it doesn't quite pop in the way I want it to. So anyway, there's just a bit of a smugness to it. And like I say, I hesitate to say this. The last time I made reference to this in any video, it prompted somebody to quite, you know, rightly from their perspective, be a little bit cross with me. But, you know, I struggle with Gareth Roberts these days because he's very vehement in his views and I very vehemently disagree with him. And not just because of her viewpoint, although it seems to be what she's most well known for, at least in my circles these days. But I never thought she was that good a writer anyway. That reference to J.K. Rowling at the end just falls as flat as a pancake for me now. And when you're talking about a writer of the calibre of Shakespeare, and then you throw in J.K. Rowling, it just, to me, listen, if I wasn't doing videos about Doctor Who, I'd be talking about flipping Booker Prize novels and this, that, and the other, because that's what I do. You know, if I'm not watching Doctor Who, I read all books, but I read. I'm a reader. That's Doctor Who's fault to a certain extent, and I just It's too much to say I find it distasteful, but I do find it a little bit clumsy. But it's not for me, is it? I mean, it's a kids' TV programme, and how many kids at the time this was on were flipping Harry Potter obsessed? We hadn't even finished the series. He makes reference to book 7. Oh, I cried. He says, it wasn't that good, the Doctor. So, read something better. Anyway, there we go. That's just me. That is a real hyper niche me thing. The other rather more fundamental issue I've got is this. I'm convinced that this programme's setting up Martha to fail. I really, really am. I just think she looks like a simp.
Martha.
Am I using that word in the right way? Simp.
I think so.
Yeah.
She's a good example of a simp.
I just think,
But I don't really want to Google it.
if you would, I think that Tennant's Doctor, Tennant's performance, I completely see the path that Tennant's on, but
yeah, she's a simp.
Either Tennant needs to be less good at portraying the fact that he's not interested in Martha, or, and I hate to do this because, I never like criticising actors. This is why I can't be a critic. I'm not very good at criticising real life people. I'm just not sure Freema has got the chops to stand up to Tennant. And I hate saying it, but there's moments at the start of this episode where she's come out of time to say, oh, are we doing this? And are we doing this? And I'm thinking, I'm not buying this. And I don't know whether that's the way it's scripted or her performance. I don't want to be mean, but there's just moments where I think, all right, crack on then. And I haven't felt that for a long, long time with a companion. A long, long time with a companion. And I hate to say that because, there's going to be some real big stuff coming, but this is only a second story. I want this to pop. This relationship. These days, the relationship between the Doctors and their companions is more important than ever before, quite frankly, in relation to Doctor Who. Time's gone by, you could have a subpar companion and you would coast through and it'd be fine. But these days, their names in big letters at the start, you know what I mean? They need to be good. And on this showing, at least, doesn't feel like Martha, let's do that way around, doesn't quite have the oomph to stand up to the rigours of being against this, this battle scarred Doctor or this genius from 1599. And that is a problem because, there we go. Anything else?
Nothing from me.
Right, thank you. I'm too poorly to continue. Farewell. Bye-bye.